Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
I give up. I guess I don't know anything about basketball of the Miami Heat. I mean, I watch them play. I think I know how these games are going to go against Denver. And then last night, somehow Miami wins that game. They shoot, they make all their threes. I guess I just don't understand how any of this works or what the Miami Heat are about.
Well, I don't think anybody does. First of all, that's why you shouldn't bet on basketball.
Okay.
In case you thought about doing that, because every game has its own personality. It's like the same guys that couldn't make a shot the first game, make them all the second. And of course, adjustments. We talked about that. I mean, Spoelstra make some adjustments and make the game a little more difficult in some ways for the Joker, not scoring, but in other ways they made it tougher. And that's what we'll see. And then will Denver make some adjustments?
I just thought it's the altitude, and Miami's a little bit of an older team, right? And at least some of them are. So I figure fourth quarter, that's going to be Denver's time because they haven't lost a game at home in the playoffs. And in the fourth quarter, we have both of them, even game one, which Denver won. Yeah. Miami's just blowing them off the floor. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, it seems like in game two, I mean, you think Miami's tank is empty, and they're filling it up with three-pointers because every time they're making one, they're getting more gas in their tank. And I think the important thing is you remember three-pointers that give a team the lead, pull them within one. But they had fallen behind, 12 points, 10 points a couple times, and they're coming down and taking the three to get them back in from 12 points. And those are big shots because if you miss them, they come back and score. All of a sudden it's 14, it's 15. But these guys are shooting these three-pointers down 12 and knocking them down and staying, kind of staying connected in the game. And I think that was huge for them in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the thing about Miami is, though, they just don't quit. I mean, they really don't. I mean,
but they're not good enough to quit, Jerry.
No,
really, when you think about it, they're like, we're really not that good. I mean, we're good, obviously, but we're not supposed to do anything. So why don't we just keep playing?
And they do. And like I say too, I mean, hey, that team beat Milwaukee.
Yes.
The team with the best record.
Yes.
And they beat Boston, the team with the second best record in the league. So why wouldn't they be competitive against the team with the third best record?
Wouldn't they be confident?
League?
We've already done 1 and 2. Why not 3?
And if DeMar DeRozan's daughter had been at the Bulls Heat game, they would have lost that game too, but she had to go to school, so she missed that game.
Yeah.
So.
Thank God for education, or else they would have been out a long time ago,
But I know how Jerry feels because you probably saw him as Stones and I did on ABC 10 last night, breaking down whether Coach Malone should have called timeout or not before Jamal Murray missed the shot. But how about you, Mr. Basketball? You call timeout there, and I get the rebound, 11 seconds left?
Yes, 12.6 seconds left.
111, 108.
The problem, I know you don't want to let the defense set up so you don't call time, but with 12.6 seconds left, it took them 4 seconds to get it across half court because it was like 8.5 when they got across. And in that case, you don't have that much time. I mean, if you get 12.6 seconds, call timeout, you're inbounding from the side. Obviously, they set up, but you've got time. I mean, that 4 seconds, I'm not going to say wasted, but it took too long. If you hurry up and set up, I think you get a better look at a better shot. That's why you don't call timeout. But by slowing it down, in effect, they took that advantage away from them. I think that made it easier for them to defend them. So I definitely think, looking at that in that particular case, I think they should have called timeout with 12 and a half to go.
Whoa.
That's what I think. I'm watching the show. I stopped it. I looked at it again. I go, wait a minute. 12.6, they have the ball. It's 8.5. They're still over half court.
Jalen Rose agrees with you. Tim Legler agrees with you.
Then I'm wrong.
How about Mr. Jerry Reynolds?
Totally disagree because I do agree with one part of what you said. The Nuggets took too long to get across the – I mean, they should have been pushing. They need a 3 to tie. Okay, now here's the problem with taking it out of bounds. Number one is – the defense gets set. Right. We know that. Okay. The second thing is you don't know if you'll get the ball inbounds. It's not automatic.
No, but
here's the thing that Whitey pointed out that I forgot is that also the other team knows you need a 3. So as soon as somebody gets it, maybe Aaron Gordon has to be the receiver. You foul him.
Right. Well, I was thought they would do that anyway, but
But
they
he
weren't
didn't have
gonna
the
do it.
ball.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
guy,
see
the
all
guy
that.
you wanted to shoot
But-
had the ball.
But in that case, let's say that they're taking it out with 12.6 to go, and they get into Eric Gordon and they foul him, and he gets free throws. Let's say he does make them. Hopefully he does. You still can play that game. You still have 10 seconds left to go. So that's a long time in a professional game. The thing I had a problem with is not that they didn't call a timeout, but they took so long, and so they took all the options off the table for themselves. Because if you rush it up, you get it up, then you get people moving,
Well-
then you have a better chance to hit somebody
Well,
to get an
here's-
open shot. And the other thing, Jerry, I know certain people on radio like the shot that they got. I didn't like the shot they got. A fall-away three-pointer, to me, is not a great shot.
Well,
and I
it
know
wasn't-
Murray's a great player. I'm not
it
saying
wasn't
he's
a great
not.
shot, but it was a shot that he can make. And the other part that I think is completely forgotten in this is in the open court like that. If you'll notice, when Murray's pushing the ball, not that he should have pushed it harder, but as he pushing it,
Right.
they had 2 or 3 defenders in the paint. Now, if they call timeout, those defenders aren't going to be in the paint.
Right.
They're going to be chasing everybody off the line.
Right. Why were they in the paint in the first place?
Well,
That's what I
because
was
it's a
saying.
habit.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
It's
you
a
didn't call
transition,
timeout.
But I
Yeah.
know, but then they bring it up, but they don't take advantage of that. That's what I'm saying. I understand your
Well,
point, but
I
the way
understand
they-
your point,
The way they
and
played
the
they
only
gave
part-
away, they frittered
No.
away the
Well,
advantage they
if-
have by the way they handled it. So I'm saying that since they did that, why not call timeout and try to do it a different way? And of course, that brings up other problems. It gets you
Well,
a look at a three.
you would hope so.
I know, and I know that.
But here's my point.
Spoelstra knows that
no,
too.
No, I'll go back to point. Main point is they had a situation where 2 of the defenders were in the paint.
Yes.
None of those friggin' guys would have been in the
Okay.
paint because they'd have give you a layup.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you that idealistically, I'm not calling timeout, but the way they ran the play,
Well,
they should
if
have.
they should have pushed
That's
it a
what I'm
little
They
saying.
should
bit.
have pushed it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which going back to second quarter, Jokic is on the bench, and Denver was running them off the floor. It was just like, what is going on? And in transition, Miami couldn't keep up. And then I didn't really see Denver push tempo that much the rest of the game, which is another thing that surprised me a little bit. It has to do with the fact Miami made shots. But
Yeah,
still.
I think that was a big part
Yeah,
of it. They
yeah.
just kept making shots.
Yeah.
To some degree, I to me the game probably, if you look at one little thing or two, is Caldwell Pope fouling 3-point shooters in a ridiculous
He
time.
should have been dismissed from the team.
Almost.
I
You
really
know?
think.
I
what
mean,
if-
it's like, wait a minute, you basically gave them 6 points they didn't have coming.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
then you have to go up to him and high five him now too.
Yeah.
Because he's on your team. You can't go up and go, what the hell is your
Yeah, you-
problem?
you
go,
wanna-
hey man,
well-
Caldwell, that's okay, man. And I
Yeah,
like Caldwell
yeah.
Pope, but that was
Yeah, no,
just
he's been a good player
horrible.
for him,
Those
but
are two dumb plays.
that was
terrible.
really, really bad play.
Yeah. How about this? One of those plays was Max Strus throwing the ball up there, and that was after Kevin Love had Vincent in the corner.
Yeah.
And didn't see him or
Yeah.
didn't throw it to him, and then throws it to Strus. He gets fouled, and then Kevin Love is like this. Oh my goodness! He goes over and he hugs
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent. And I was with Coach Van Gundy, and I was like, no. You just tell him, hey, my bad. What is all the you go over and hug the guy
Why do you have
during
to
the
be
game?
people miss people all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like if he looks at him and go, I'm not throwing it to you, and then it turns out we turn over and go, I should have thrown it to you. I'm sorry. And he didn't see him. What?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm sorry. I didn't see him. It's just ridiculous. If he wants to go hug him, that's fine. Who cares what they do? It's Kevin Love. He was probably excited he was playing. He got 10 rebounds. What does he care?
Well-
but I just don't see the big deal. I missed a guy. Okay, that happens all the time.
Well, I thought Van Gundy hit it just right. It's like, wait a minute, if you're going to hug for that,
Yep.
what if somebody does something good? You're going to get in a lip lock, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, what if you hit him and he makes it? Oh my God, we got to leave the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Kevin Love was like, I'm starting again.
Yes.
I'm out here. I'm not supposed to screw anything up. And there's Gabe Vincent. That's why he's on the team and he's there. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. But a little too much, maybe.
First of all, Kevin Love is starting, and then when you look at the totality of the careers, he's apologizing to Gabe Vincent. It's the guy who's been a pretty good player in this league for many years. And Gabe Vincent, as we've talked about many times, 2 years ago, how's it going in Stockton? And all of a sudden he's starting on. It's an amazing story, but it just was the juxtaposition of Kevin Love going, I better go say I'm sorry to Gabe Vincent, or he's going to do something to me. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
Obviously, Michael Malone knows his team a lot better than anybody else. And I know during the regular season when they were struggling, he called them out. publicly. We need to play harder. And he's doing it again, Jer, Mr. Basketball,
Yeah.
in the NBA Finals. And to me, that just seems kind of risky. I mean, I know things like that have happened in the past in the finals, but it tends to happen behind closed doors. So obviously he knows what he's doing or thinks he knows what he's doing, but that surprised me a little bit.
Well, it did me too, and I think knowing Michael a little bit, he is definitely a reaction guy. I mean, it's not like his emotions are there for all to see.
Yeah.
And as we were talking in the car
One of
show,
your various shows that you did.
I mean, it's a
yes.
little bit of a Jerry Sloan in the day. I mean, there was never a game they played when they didn't, if they lost, it's like, we didn't want it. We didn't play hard enough. I mean,
That was his
every
go-to all the
game didn't
time.
make any difference,
And that team
It
tended to
just
play
didn't
kind of
make
hard,
any-
didn't they?
And they
did.
played
They
awful
were
hard.
thugs.
And
Come on,
they-
they're killing people on the floor.
yeah, and I thought, Denver played hard. That's not why they lost. It
No.
might not have been real smart at times, and they did something like that. But I do think it's probably, it'd just be my guess, is those players, they've been around Michael enough that's like, oh, that's coach.
Yeah.
And if they feel the same way, it'll probably be all right. But if it rankles a few feathers, it won't. But I think if you're Michael Malone, if I'm on the team, I'd go, why didn't you tell us to guard Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter? Maybe you should have mentioned Duncan Robinson because he outscored us 10-2 to start the fourth quarter. Perhaps you should have mentioned that. So I mean, you can go
Fourth
back. Adam.
quarters they're not. That's not Nuggets time.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
this
what was
series.
it?
It hasn't been, has it?
They outscored him by like 20 points in the first 6. All of a sudden, at 6 minutes to go, I'm wondering, can the Nuggets stay in this game? And at the start of the fourth quarter, it's the other way around. It's unbelievable what they did.
Yeah, you know what Malone calling out his team reminded me of, and I'm not saying they're similar. I'm not making a statement, oh, he should do it because of this or that, but it reminded me of Larry in 1984 in the finals. Game 1, the Lakers win easily. Game 2, Lakers should have won in Boston. They threw it away. They lose. They win Game 3 in L.A., and before Game 4, Larry says, we're playing like a bunch of pussies. And remember that?
Okay, Larry.
And then the next game was McHale clothesline, and then Boston, they won on their end. They won that series.
But you can't do that now because if somebody does what McHale did, they never play
Well,
basketball
no,
again.
actually, they suspended McHale for the next 2 seasons for in
Yeah.
today's game.
Yeah, yeah.
And poor old Kurt Rambis. I mean, he did
Yeah.
he bounced on the thing on the
Yep.
for a couple of things.
Yeah.
there, but-
It's a lot easier calling out a team with 4 Hall of Famers. And
Yeah.
ask them to do better, and they kind of responded to the call.
Well, and to why? I mean, I think that's kind of thing. It actually worked because it's not an everyday thing.
Exactly.
I mean, especially publicly. I'm not knowing Larry a little bit. I assume he probably says things like that in the locker room more regular than
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, not I would say, but certainly
Yeah.
from listening to Danny Ainge and different guys, probably occasionally in the locker room, but almost never publicly.
Yeah.
And so
message received.
Message
obviously.
received. Yeah.
Yeah. And it paid off for him.
So is that an indication of how upset he was, or just, I mean, as far as going ahead and saying that in public, this sounds unlike Larry. So is he that mad, or he just thought, maybe I'm going to put a needle in this guy?
He was speaking the truth as he saw it,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
I think both.
Yeah.
I think both. I think he was that mad and thought, I'm calling these guys out.
He probably thought we ain't gonna win if we don't start.
Yeah.
We play the way we've been playing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the P word, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said.
Okay,
I said
well,
that because
you
that's what he
repeated it,
said.
yeah.
What about this notion, Coach, Mr. Basketball, that the Heat won because they let Jokic score? And I know Ramona Shelburne mentioned that last night to Coach Spo. He wasn't having any of that. But what about this idea that, hey, they won because Jokic had, 41? But I think they're 4-4 this year when he scores 40 or more. So they let Jokic score. That's why they won the game.
Well, that was pretty silly, of course. I mean, he, as Bo kind of pointed out, he scored. We didn't let him score. We were guarding the heck out of him. But what they did is they took away some other things.
I think
and that's
exactly.
that's the key. It's like he's a great player. You try to take something away,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously they did, and that had a lot to do with how the game goes. But I think Coach Spoelstra, I mean, he kind of crucified Ramona Shelburne, as probably was deserved. But it's like it's like,
Yeah.
come on, quit,
Well, he's smart. He doesn't want to. It would be disrespectful, right? If he said, "Yeah, we just let him score." Disrespectful to your own team, even.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't that they let him score, Phantom. In my opinion, it was that they forced him to score by taking away the other things.
Yeah, he had nothing else he could do.
exactly.
And how many of those shots were tough shots he made? He made a lot of
I would say, he took 28 shots, a lot of them were inside shots. They were close in, but they were very difficult.
Very difficult.
But I think the key thing to that point, Whitey, is that he and Murray were the only two guys that took double-digit shots on the team, and that is not the way they want to play. They didn't let him score. He had to work hard for those 41 points. But I was watching a couple of times, and I thought they did a better job on cutters and stuff, and
They said they did. They said they
options.
did. They said they got a lot more physical and chuck guys off.
Yeah, and he had I think 3 of his 4 assists were in the first half. So he had, Jokic with 1 assist over the last 24 minutes of a game doesn't usually happen. But I think they did. They took away some of his options, as you said, Jared. And I just think that that's not the way. Whether you want to call it let him score, that's not the way they want to disperse their shots. And so I think in the long run, that's great for Miami that those 2 guys take the bulk of your shots, and they're only 2 guys. You don't have Porter. You don't have any of those other guys shooting more than 9 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how they win. That's like their first game. I mean, you had 5 guys in double figures. And I mean, certainly Jokic, being the great player that he is, wants to, his scoring in the first game was kind of late when he had to. I mean, basically.
He took his first shot at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, so he's, as long as he can find guys, and Miami, I think, not surprised. I mean, Spoelstra's been to the county fair a couple times and figured out that
he's been to the state fair too.
I believe he has rode every ride.
He went
there.
to at least one World's Fair. I know. I just say it. But it seemed like a lot of those tough shots that he did take, he only went to the basket after. I got nobody else I can get it to, so I'm going to put up about 4 different moves, and they're very impressive. But that's not what he, at least in my mind, that's not what he wanted to do when he got the ball. No. He wanted to find somebody else, and they did, as we said, a great job of sealing off a lot of those options.
What is this with the Heat shirt? I mean, you wear
I alwast wear the Heat shirt.
Yeah,
that's my only basketball
kind
shirt.
Of a little bit of a front runner. If you had
because I picked the Nuggets in 5. I told
that's
Stones,
what I know.
I picked the Nuggets in 5, so I'm gonna wear my Heat shirt every time.
Okay.
But thanks to Stones, I don't have to next show because I have something a little bit different.
Wow.
Called the Denver Rockets.
Denver Rockets.
Yes,
I
do.
That. Make sure.
Yeah,
we can see
that's
that.
the camera there. Over there, I don't know where the camera is. There it is.
I don't even remember
Denver
the
Rockets.
Denver Rockets.
I think that was Spencer Haywood in the group.
They were originally going to be the Denver Larks, and they changed their name to the
Why?
Denver Rockets.
Why wouldn't you go with that?
Because the guy who bought the team and owned them, the original ABA team, he had a company called the Rocket Trucking Company.
Oh.
And he said, we're going to be the Rockets and
like
promote my company.
Denver Rockets is good.
The logo is pretty
it's
crazy. It doesn't make any Denver
no,
Rockets,
it doesn't
but
make
that's
any sense
why.
at all. No, there's no rockets.
Yeah, and they were, was that like gold and purple, right?
Yeah.
That is an awesome shirt.
Yeah, the Stone Man came through.
Yeah.
They did. He did.
Miami Floridians was the ABA team.
Yeah, I remember them.
With the bikini girls.
Yeah, that was the first team to have the
That's
bikini
all I
girls.
remember about him, That's all I remember.
And the former Vincennes University Trailblazer, Dan Sparks, who went to Weber State, played on the Miami Floridians.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
I don't remember the Sparks era.
Well, it's forgettable. Actually, though, he played on the junior college championship team. He was anyway.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we don't talk about.
He was
Dan
good enough to
Sparks
play on the Floridians for a year in the ABA. That's all I can tell you.
Better than I ever did.
Some of those teams had ownership problems, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
no
I think
doubt.
they played for a while in like an airplane hangar, and it got too hot, so they'd open the doors.
Open the door.
And then it would be too breezy, and it would actually affect guys' shots. But anyway.
But I know some guys still put them up. They don't care. That's
Christian Brown.
Yes.
When he came into the game, rookie from Kansas, and he has a chance to be one of the, 5 guys that's won the NCAA title and then the NBA title
next year.
Yeah. But when he came into the game, was it just me, or was he like an adult playing against kids in the driveway where he stole the ball every time, no matter what? It's like they throw the ball and he just take it.
But it was like he was following the ball all over the place.
Yeah, and he just take it.
And then once he became a cause de celebre, all of a sudden he's making, getting inside, making a fall away even when they played it back on replay. How the heck did he make that shot? That was incredible.
Boy, he plays hard, doesn't he?
He does.
I mean, that guy really, really competes. Though, it is interesting. How many subs do they play? 3?
They only played 3.
Well, there you go. Right
Yeah,
there.
I think they just played 3
guys. Yeah.
Brown, and Green.
Yeah, the only 3 guys on the team that had a
the
they had a plus
Brown,
minus.
Brown, and Green.
Brown, and Green had 14, 12,
Oh,
and 8
no,
plus
he's going
minus.
plus minus.
All their starters were a minus, and
this
all
was
the
going
other
so
starters.
well. This was going so well to this point.
And this is the thing I don't understand about plus minus, if I may. Duncan Robinson pretty much saved the game, right? He's a minus 6.
Yeah,
exactly.
He scored 10. He scored 10 points in 17 minutes.
Tells you
and pretty much saved the game, and he's a minus 6.
That tells you what
I know.
you need to know.
Unbelievable. I don't know how that happens. I just
Well,
don't know. How
I do.
That
It's meaningless.
I don't know how that happens.
On a
And on the other hand, Bruce Brown, it was a plus 14. Keep him on the floor. I'm saying.
Sorry.
Yeah.
See, I knew he was going to go
Do
for
that.
that.
Yes. Well, it just jumps out at you.
Yeah, I should have left
Yeah,
that in there.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so are we still sticking with our predictions? You have to, right?
You have to stick with your predictions. Yeah.
I know we all had Denver at 6, 5.
I said 5. Yeah. And I was feeling. Well, watching the game, I wasn't, even though when they were up 8, it didn't seem like it was like, oh, Miami has no chance in this game. But I didn't see what they did. Didn't see that coming. It just overwhelmed them in the fourth. But I never felt like that game was out of touch. Even
You
when
didn't
it was
see
14.
what you were watching at somebody's house again, and then they were.
I recorded. I watched the game later. I didn't watch the game live. Yeah.
Oh my! Now that don't even count, does it?
Yeah. I didn't have to sit through 9-minute commercial breaks or anything like that. It was great.
And why was that, if I may ask?
Because what was I doing?
Why did
I have
you
a private life, okay? Come on. I have things I have to do. I mean, we had Potters yesterday. We had all kinds of stuff.
By the way, I watched a little of Potters, and I've got to say it. I mean, that center field camera makes so much difference.
Is he the best? Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it really is a good look.
Yeah.
Really
Does
good
a great
look.
job.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the broadcast, would you?
Mediocre, but
Okay.
you know.
That's better than I thought he'd say.
All right, thanks for being with us. When are we on tomorrow then? Yeah, well, next time on the Old Fashioned 3, we got to talk about it, and it's what everybody around the NBA is talking about, the new Big 3 being formed in Dallas.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
gotta-
one of the great Big 3s of all time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right here.
Even bigger than this.
Oh,
if you
my
can imagine
gosh.
that.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, it's next time on the
We
Old-
may be bigger soon.
Yeah.
but they're the biggest.
Wow. Calm down, Jerry.
Well, I'm telling you.
on the Old Fashioned
It wasn't
3.
that good of a show.
No, it really wasn't.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.